heads up on that one. Okay, started recording. Cool. All right, and we're off. So thank you all for spending your, precious lunch hour with us to discover, kind of all the possibilities within creative. I think really what spurred this idea with Amy and myself is that I think chronically creative's always been a rather misunderstood department, or there's maybe some assumptions as to what we do and not a whole lot of awareness of the broader capabilities. So we're going to go through some of that. And we are also going to go through why a potential customer or existing customer would want to use our in-house creative teams versus going to an ad agency or outside. So we'll cover that too. The topics that we'll cover today are creative versus like our vendors and our agencies, like the comparison between the two, like why stay with us, why not go out? We're also going to talk about how creative has been collaborating with other companies of the CJK family. And then we'll dive into the four main parts of creative services. All right, can everybody hear this okay and everybody see it? Need me to zoom in on anything?
Seems good to me.
That's all
Right,
good.
cool. Awesome. So here are all of the things that the very curated staff within Tweddle Group's creative services team bring that an outside agency or vendor or sometimes in-house teams, OEM teams, don't possess. As you know, we are, we're a company that really leans heavy on our quality system, our PIRs, our FEMAs, our audits. You don't get those types of things when you go to an advertising agency. And you also don't get consistent results when you lean on internal OEM teams. So, that's something that is a real distinct advantage to, keeping creative in-house, is really making sure that we meet all of those quality requirements and protocols to keep our audits good. Subject matter experts, and I know Amy's going to speak a lot about this later as we get into video and CGI and copywriting and those things. But if you were to give, say, some kind of technical creative work to an agency, they're not going to have that deep knowledge of the subject matter. When they're going through and validating things or editing things or whatever, they're going to know if something's off. They're going to know if something's incorrect, and an agency's not going to know that. They might pick up misspellings, but they're not going to pick up any misphrases. So that's an important one. Streamlining turnaround time. We don't have the hurdles of having, disjointed teams and waiting for responses. We're all in the same team. We're all in these meetings. You can just quickly ping somebody and get an answer. It really does help expedite the process and production of things. And then getting down into just that technical documentation, again, being that expert, the quality control, the collaboration element, the management that, the keeping track of version history, change management, the whole history of something. It's not uncommon for some of us that have been at Tweddle for a really long time to remember an issue that we may have had 5 years ago with this one client. You're not going to get that in an agency. Like, oh, we tried that once and it failed miserably because of X, Y, and Z. We have that knowledge. An agency or outside vendor would not have that. Before I move on, Amy, is there anything that you would like to add to this or that clarifies something I didn't cover correctly?
No, I mean, I think it's really good. And I mean, I know both you and I spent time at ad agencies and, I've been with the company 13 years, but I will say, it was a big culture shift for me when I came creative side at Tweddle because Tweddle cared about process, Tweddle cared about metrics and quality. And that was not something I'd had exposure to before. And it is absolutely something that sets us apart from other creative shops out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think quality is kind of a foreign language to some advertising agencies.
Yep. Well, they're also in the business of, and certainly, agencies also do high volume work for some clients. I worked on the Six Flags account and I did, hundreds of spots a week for them with customizations, but that stuff wasn't going to put anybody at risk. And it just didn't need to be even held to the same standards. Agencies are by and large doing things that are more sort of one-off in nature, and they certainly know their brands. They get intimately acquainted with the brands themselves, but the technical knowledge is a whole nother animal. And end user experience is a whole nother animal. They're trying to get, people to make a purchase. We're trying to reward brand loyalty with a great owner's experience.
Precisely. All right, moving on to some of our CJK collaborations. So here are some of the things that we've worked with KGL, Cody, Sheridan, and some of the members of CJK themselves. So do you want to talk about the video side, since that one's kind of first?
Yeah, I mean it's really pretty straightforward. And it's actually been really fun collaborating with our sibling companies because they're allowing us to do some work that we don't typically get to do. We spend a lot of time with sheet metal, which is great. We love that, but we have been going around the country for the last couple years doing video tours of the different Sheridan facilities and showing off the people at those facilities, the equipment and setup at those facilities and their capabilities. And, those have been used heavily in their marketing and social media. And so that's been really fun. And then we've also had a lot of collaboration with the KGL folk. They do a lot of online learning. Florida Online Schools is one of their clients, and we have been casting and recording voiceover for those projects. And then, of course, our CGI team is really, really linked in with the KGL folk as well in terms of processing deliverables and, a lot of high volume work there as well. So that's been pretty cool to learn more about our sister companies and actually be able to, interact and help support them.
And then for design, KGL has some design capabilities over in India. Obviously, Cody, or what will become Continuum, has some design help. Sheridan, not so much. So it's interesting when they need some help. It's more like from a design perspective, it's more on a consulting basis. What have you done in this instance? Do you have, what kind of icons you use? Like we've kind of thrown some of the trade show material, booth design, brochure design. They've kind of helped, or they've shown that to me, and I've helped them make some better decisions on how to organize some of that information, because it's not really their skill set. They have vendors for that, but not themselves for that. So we've been kind of helping them out with that in design. With marketing, that's what comes into play more with marketing, because we do a lot of cross collaboration. If there's a campaign that's happening, we'll help boost it. If we watch each other's channels, they are constantly pushing out new material, and sometimes they'll cross promote certain blogs that are really popular. And so there's a lot of cross promotion in that regard. Trade Show Alliance, we actually had some of our folks in BD meet up with some KGL BD folks at a trade show in the automotive industry that they overlapped in. So that was kind of a nice moment to just, really reinforce that Tweddle is a much stronger company now, under the umbrella of CJK and with the, assistance of our sister companies. So that's always a helpful thing to share out into the world. So that's that. So visual trends for communication, the biggest ones that, we keep our eye on are inclusivity, and, kind of making sure that things work for everybody. I keep getting this weird pop-up. I don't know if you guys can see it. Spoken language incorrect.
No,
All right.
You're good.
All right, that's just for me then. Nice and distracting. We leaning heavily on inclusivity. So, people with disabilities, people that have visual impairment, things like that. That's really, really coming into play, especially now that most of our deliverables are really migrating into the digital world out there online, they're in apps, they're, different types of software. So it's really important for us to stay abreast of all of these trends that are really important. The other one, which of course Mike Alexander and his team are very much aware, is the realism and product visualization. So, when they're depicting certain things, to make it simple, not make it overcomplicated, but make it real, because it kind of helps close that gap for the user a little bit quicker, as to what it is they're looking at, and do they understand what they're looking at. And then obviously we've got all sorts of, augmented reality, visual overlays, image recognition, things like that, which I won't steal Amy's thunder. She's going to get into that a little bit later. But these are some of the trends that we're seeing, constantly, popping up in the visual communication world. And we do utilize Accessibility here, this one in the middle. We do utilize that for our website. You might see that it's new this year. We've never had that before, but we are implementing that now. So video services, you are up. Do you want to go through all of these, or let me know when you want me to flip to the next page?
Sure. Thank you. And I appreciate you running the show. So, video is one word, but if you look at the long list of capabilities that you see on the screen, and don't worry, I'm not going to go through all of them, but you can see that we have a lot of different types of things that we do, different types of deliverables. And some of the things that we're really excited about that we've brought forward recently, and I'm going to show you some examples of things as well, but our AI voiceover capabilities now have proven to be incredibly useful over the past year. We have rolled them out for use on our Infinity videos, and they also enabled us to do a bunch of work for Toyota of Europe, where we not only did English language voiceover translations, but we used AI to do German, Italian, Spanish, and French. So that was all pretty exciting, and it just made us a lot more nimble, really, because we did not have to worry about recording people in different time zones. We didn't have to worry about scheduling if we had a small change that needed to be made on the fly. This just made us that much more flexible. We are still using real human talent, so fear not. We have not eliminated the human element, but in informational videos like we do, a lot of times the AI is really appropriate because we're not trying to do something silly. We're trying to do something straightforward when we're communicating with our end users. So
Hey,
if you look
Amy,
through, yes, go right ahead, Tim.
sorry to interrupt, but just a quick question. Can you
Yeah.
show us an example of what you just stated? You said you
Yeah.
use AI in the informational videos.
Yes.
I
Yep,
mean, because I'm not as familiar with this stuff as probably everybody else in the meeting. So this is just it's going over my head. I don't really know what that means.
Of course, yeah, and I do have a sample I'm going to show you. I have one on deck.
Okay, great.
So
Thanks.
yeah, absolutely. And it's going to show off a couple of our other capabilities as well when we get in there. But really, the bottom line is we can do any type of photography, videography, production that you want. And even if it's a capability we don't have in-house, we're really well networked throughout town. Right now we don't have motion graphics capability in-house, but we are connected to some really talented individuals who are helping support our needs in that regard. So anyway, if you have a need for video, we are definitely the folks. And I'm gonna give this a try. Lisa, I'm gonna request control and see if I can share an Infinity video with you. And there's a couple things about this video that I want to tell you about. So can everybody see that okay?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
All right, now the next trick will be, this is not the one I wanted to show you. This is the one I wanted to show you. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Hang on. Yes, okay, I'm going back. I am terrible with share on Teams. It gives me agitation. Okay. So hopefully the sound will play on this. So there's a few things I want to focus on here too. So not only is this showing you our video capabilities, this uses the AI voice that's on here, which we've trained that is able to, say proprietary words like, that are relevant to the Nissan and Infiniti brands. And you will also see, if you look over here, we have anchor tagging in here. So when a user comes to our site and they want to know something about their intelligent key, but they don't really care about all this stuff, like they really just want to know about that hazard and horn beep, they can just step right to that portion of the video. And we manage all of that through PubHub, which is pretty cool. So anyway, let's cross our fingers that the audio works, and here we go.
The intelligent key system allows you to conveniently lock and unlock the vehicle without ever removing the key fob from your pocket or purse. The door handles are retractable. They will extend outward under one of the following conditions. The vehicle is approached with the intelligent key. The vehicle is unlocked. A door is opened. The vehicle detects a collision. The intelligent key has remote keyless entry functions that can operate within approximately 33 feet of the vehicle. Press this button to unlock the. In the event that the intelligent key battery is dead, you can find a mechanical key on the back side of the.
All right, was everybody able to hear?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's our AI voiceover. Tim, did that help you out?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. And just to further kind of demystify the AI stuff, it still requires a lot of human interaction. Our audio engineer Meredith spends a lot of time going in and training it, making sure the pronunciations are good, making sure the pacing sounds normal and comfortable for the listener. So this is not replacing the human element. It's really enhancing our flexibility internally when it comes to delivering this stuff. So, all right, Lisa, if you wouldn't mind going back to the presentation. Does anybody have any questions about any of that? Okay. So let's hit the next page. Okay, so statistically, and for those of you that attended the town hall and the portion of that meeting that was related to key initiatives, you probably remember that video and selling video was a key initiative for the organization in the year moving forward. And I'm going to tell you a little bit of why. And I think probably all of us at some point or another, and I know I have many times, has gone to YouTube or the internet to try and find information about how to make something work. Maybe even, a Microsoft item, or my refrigerator is an example I like to use a lot of the time. It was trying to clean a shelf, couldn't find a way to do it in the instructional information, so off to YouTube I went. So you'll see 53% of consumers are using YouTube to find information, and people have a strong preference for video content. There's a reason for that, and retention rates are a big part of it, right? So you retain, and I think it's a seeing is believing factor, right? So 90% of a message when you watch it on video compared to reading it in text. And people also are just more engaged with video, more likely to share it, more likely to seek it out. That is not to diminish the written word and the technical information that that so many of you on the call are really gifted at putting forward. That is absolutely still necessary, but this is kind of a quick resource for people, when they're looking for information. Okay. All right, the experience. I think we won't belabor this. I think everybody's pretty cool on this, but we demonstrate. We're very clear in how we're communicating with people. We take out a lot of the complexity of the features to help people just kind of get the basics of what they need to know, and they can always dive deeper in the written owner's information. A video can be paused, it can be rewound, it can be accessed again and again, and it's readily available. If you're a product manufacturer, you own a product, you have to have video, because your consumers are going to be looking for it. So, all right, next slide. All right, another cool thing, and of course, we're really big on this at Tweddle, is, finding different ways to leverage the content we're creating, to make more of a one-stop shop experience for our clients. So, we have found through the years that, we started out making videos for just owners' information sites, but then we started getting requests to use those same videos for dealer training, and for, training behind the scenes at our manufacturers. So there's a million different ways you can use these things, and you can repurpose the scripts for articles, or other owners' information content. So you can get a lot of bang for your buck out of this stuff. Next slide. All right, and the reality is, if you're not doing video, somebody else is going to do it for you. And this can be pretty sobering when you get out there and start digging around. I mean, we all know, like, anybody with a camera can make a video, right? Doesn't mean they're doing a good job with it. And a lot of times they are inserting their own opinion. And that is not, as a brand, necessarily something you want, because usually people are putting video out there because they've recognized a frustration, they've recognized a need, and they're trying to meet it. So, 45% of consumers trust user-generated content. So that's, your neighbor next door making videos. Good chance it's not going to be accurate. And again, with the opinions. And if you flip to the next slide, Lisa. So check out the title of this user-made video. Catastrophic electrical failure. And this was a search when we were looking to try and find some owner's information. This was generated by a user. You can see that this particular user has 451 subscribers, and this video has 20,000 views. And as part of this video, there is commentary about, hey, avoid buying this product, but if you did, here's how to deal with this particular situation. And this had to do with the battery crapping out, I believe. So that's pretty frightening when you see that. And our client didn't have a video out there to address any of this. So little scary. Next slide. All right. Unreal and Unity development. So this is something that's been going on in the background for a few years now. Those of you who are gamers may recognize this software. They're primarily gaming engines, but they are being used for a million different things. We have worked with the US military. You'll see that tank image down there, on simulations on sensors that detect incoming enemy fire and things like that. Lisa was really involved with the UX UI on that too, and she may, I think, discuss that in some of her slides later. But that's been a pretty cool project. And then I do want to take a moment to share another image recognition project using the software that we created for Nissan. And we actually have another project that is moving forward for Nissan. I don't want to share that right now because it is still confidential and I want to respect them on that. But this was more of a consumer-facing proof of concept that we did for them that at this point I don't think they're going to move forward with, but I do want to show you the technology. And they did really like it. It was just a matter of kind of navigating the internal issues at Nissan that kind of held it back. So, and basically this is a tool that could be used by a new owner to discover some stuff about their car.
Fun
All
stuff.
right. Yeah. So, what that's doing basically is use CAD, and Mike Alexander and his team helped us out with that quite a bit. But basically, the owner can lock in on the steering wheel like you saw, and perhaps they don't know what buttons are for. That's one way they can discover what the buttons are for. Maybe they do know what the buttons are for, but they need to know more information about how the system works. Maybe it's adaptive cruise control or something like that. Then they can click over and get linked out to a video on that. So it's just another way of disseminating the information that we have available to clients. And yeah, like I said, it was well received at Nissan, but the complexities of sort of getting it into their one Nissan app is what put a roadblock on it at this point. But that's some of the cool stuff that we're doing with Unity and Unreal. And then CGI services, and I don't think Mike is on the call, or else I would have him speak to this if he was. I know I see Brandon and some other folks, but anyway, so we've long had a CGI team in-house at Tweddle, and I mean these guys work magic on a daily basis. So you can see the long list of services they provide and the different pieces of software and different systems that they are linked into. I think many of you on this call interact with these guys on a fairly regular basis. If you see over there, that is a photorealistic image created in CGI. It's beautiful, looks just like the vehicle. And we are currently exploring, already they're doing some video work for us, but we're looking at scaling that up and potentially doing, lots of video in CGI, because what I think we're learning, we again have another initiative in the company where we really want to help out these startups, some of these smaller companies, and a lot of times they don't have a vehicle available, and they're not going to have a vehicle available for us to shoot on a timeline that works. So we can use their CAD and essentially create something from nothing for them, which is pretty exciting. And then, of course, line art and all these other wonderful things that go into our owner's information come from this team as well. So Lisa, if you want to bump to the next slide. So here's some examples of the way CGI is collaborating with our team at KGL. And you can see the high volume of illustrations that get cranked out on the regular with these guys. And our team here is really excellent at coordinating and just keeping things flowing in an efficient and accurate way with the offshoring initiatives that we have going on. Yep, and then here's an example of CAD to photoreal, another beautiful image that looks great. And then some more, and yeah, like something from nothing for sure right there. That's beautiful. And then and here's some under the hood stuff, right? And this is really, really cool, especially from a service and technical perspective, because you can't get in here with a camera, and there's so much going on that even if you could, it might be hard to really get the view you want to focus on the wiring harness or specific connectors or whatever it is that you need. And the magic of CAD lets us do all of that. CAD is even used to validate a lot of product sometimes when we don't have a vehicle available. So pretty cool stuff. A lot of interaction with the Tracer and VRM team, helping support them in the wire harnesses and things along those lines. And then for marketing as well, just creating some beautiful images that Lisa and her team can put out there to help promote the organization. And some IVH. So lots going on here. Mixed reality. So this is a lot like the image recognition and then animation. So lots of good work to show off here. And BK, I'm going to put you on the spot. Am I missing anything?
I think that's a really good overview.
Okay, fantastic. So yeah, and I mean, just the potential for CGI is, we're already doing so much, but there's so much more to be tapped into. It is very high tech looking. It's allows us to do things that we wouldn't be able to do in any other way. So it's really exciting to have this team on board with us and you know, everything that they sort of do behind the scenes that are well kept secrets. And Linda, I see you too. Hi. Thanks for all you do.
Yeah.
All right.
And I might pop in here with this particular slide.
Mhm.
This is such a wonderful display of all of the possibilities that Mike's team can do. They can literally make it look like anything. So it's, you know, when you're working with clients or potential, you know, clients or customers that maybe they have budget restrictions, or maybe they, you know, maybe they have certain limitations. They can, just because something is simple doesn't mean it's of low quality. It doesn't mean that it's lacking in its ability to communicate. So something as simple as a line drawing can really be impactful just by the subtle use of color. Or if they want to do some, you know, really crazy rendering of like almost like peeling back half the car. It's just such a wide variety of things that they can offer. It's pretty incredible.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. Design services. So here is a list of all of the design services. We've done this for all 4 components of creative. I would say on the whole that we're not even scratching the surface at utilizing all of this stuff to its potential. I think that, you know, we're starting to engage customers within the last year or two that are just starting to kind of creep into some of these services, like you know, UX and UI design, persona creation, understanding the user. Those are, I think, historically some of the things, you know, we haven't really done those, you know, for all the time that I've been here. And I think for a long time they've been dormant skills. Maybe didn't occur to people that that's something that, you know, design can offer, but you very much can. Certain things like storyboarding out videos or helping Amy's team out with, you know, certain bumper cars, you know, the cards you get at the beginning and the end, you know, we can really help out, you know, most areas of the organization. Obviously all the graphic design services, different layouts, different styles, offering mood boards, you know, some simple workflow improvements to like full-fledged campaign designs and kind of everything in between. It's a long list. I won't go through it, but there's a lot. There's a lot to offer here, and obviously Amy and I are going to send this deck out to everybody that attended here so you can kind of comb through it at your leisure. But yeah, a lot of stuff here. And something simple here, and I can zoom in. I know some of these are a little bit kind of small here. Ford came to us and said that we have this warranty and policy manual, and it was literally printed on black and white printer and put in a 3-hole punch folder, like a binder. So they really wanted to evolve that into an online space, a digital space that could update better. And so this is kind of the translation. You know, we go through and we look at what is the information, what is the hierarchy, what's important to really showcase, and then sitting down and thinking as a user, what do they need to do? What are repetitive steps they might have to do that we can kind of alleviate that annoyance? And this is kind of the output of that. And this exists today. This is something that that at this point, Gary Ragland and his team kind of manage. Is that right, Amy? Like he kind of is owning that from here on out?
Absolutely. Yep.
But it was just taking this kind of really dinosaur of a document, you know, in paper form and really reinventing it and putting it in the digital space and thinking about the user and how they interact with it and how they might want to favorite something and come back to it or expand on something. And it was a pretty cool project. Other things that we have been doing over the last couple years that maybe some of you on this call are unaware, Tweddle does it all. And that's persona development. We started this really off with the Army back in 2020. And that was a fascinating ordeal because that just required interviewing, I think it was upwards to 40 to 50 different soldiers over the course of 2 different sessions, really getting to understand their frustrations. It puts a person behind the decision that you're making, because as designers, we're always thinking about at the end of the day who's going to be using this product, and we need to design for them, not our preference. And so it's also a helpful tool because a lot of our customers are the middlemen. They're not the end user either. So when we're presenting ideas to customers or we're creating a product that an end user is going to use, we really need to remember, what are their frustrations? What are their goals? Who are they as people? What drives them to continue to use a product or abandon it altogether? So it's really, really important to nail that down. We were able to expand upon BRPs up here, especially as they enter, into the EV space. They've got several vehicles launching in EV, and that's new for them. It's new for their customer base. So how is it new? And the best example here is this kind of, do it all kind of user. This is the person that has owned power sports their whole lives. They're very familiar with taking it all apart, cleaning it all up, putting it all back together, diagnosing problems, fixing problems. They don't really need the step-by-step on how to service their vehicle. But when they do, they're already frustrated because they should already know how to fix this and they can't. And now they're irritated. So we have to make sure that that information gets to them in an expedient way. But then you think, okay, how do they translate over to the EV world? They've known one style of a snowmobile for as long as they've owned one, but now it's an EV. What's changed? It puts them maybe at a disadvantage that their kind of historical knowledge is no longer serving them. And coming from a person that's used to, fixing things themselves and knowing what to do, that's got to be terribly frustrating. So when we think about how we craft technical information, we keep that in mind. The design decisions are not arbitrary, and they're not personal preference. They're I would say 99.9% of the time, they are really driving a better user experience, because that's going to keep that customer going back to your OEM over and over and over again. They were sold a promise when they bought this vehicle or this, motorcycle or whatever it is. And the support that they get from an owner's perspective and a service perspective needs to continue that message that started with marketing on an ad they saw or word of mouth from somebody. It needs to really carry through, and that's where we make sure that it does. Because if they're content and they're happy with the product they just bought, they're going to come back. They're going to stay a loyal customer, and that's what we want for our customers. Here are just some samples. I'm sure some of you are familiar with the print, covers that have come out of design. We're really hitting the ground running with Tweddle's brand, especially since the website was launched at the end of last year. So we're really making sure that we've got some marketing material that kind of answers every single topic that's on our website. So if there's a page dedicated to it on Tweddle.com, there's going to be a one-pager available that, we give to BD. They take that, they print those out and give them away at different events. We'll sometimes use them as downloadable material for ads that we run on LinkedIn. So we can get, hey, give us your email, we won't abuse it, and you're going to get this really cool checklist if you're thinking about buying an EV. And so we build a lot of those things in design in support of marketing. We've got our checklist here. We've got our internal stuff. We've done some really unique printing, more than just your standard, 8 1/4 by 5 1/4 cover. We've done some really cool cross folds and just unique solutions, especially when we have an OEM that wants to really make a splash and do something unique. We can support that. And we can support any kind of brand messaging, styling across any deliverable. Could be print, could be an app, could be a website. It doesn't really matter. We're very skilled at making sure that that message is consistent throughout all deliverables. Here is a good example of kind of how we're helping our customers out right now. We've got Bose, and some of you might be aware of the work that we're doing for them. This is a deliverable, and Amy, correct me if I'm saying this wrong, but this is a tool given to like the trainer. Like somebody's got to learn how to do something, but we have to teach them how to learn how to do it too. So it's a bit of an odd way to explain it, but
yeah, it's a really, really complex piece of software, basically, that they need to onboard a bunch of folks with at different OEMs. And so we've really been trying to set that up for success.
Yep.
So yeah.
So they came to us and they had some workflows that they had created themselves, and who knows what program, or maybe they found something off Google and they're like, this is exactly what we need. But this doesn't look like the Bose brand. This is going to not remind the end user that they're using a Bose product. So it's important that we bring the Bose life back into it. So it's a simple look at their branding, see how things are treated, and just fold that into all of the graphics that we can. Sometimes it has nothing to do with branding, and it has everything to do with something that looks really, really confusing. A lot of the time we work with engineers and they're kind of just like, get what's in their head kind of down on paper. And then we sit, kind of organize it for them, make it something that's, while it can be complicated and it can be complex, it doesn't have to be chaotic. So taking this and just simply converting it over to something that allows you to understand, the color coding, the workflow, where things are going, all while still using their branding, but just really decluttering some of those things. And, we've gotten some kind of wild stuff. I mean, we've gotten images off the internet. I've gotten sketches on a napkin. That's all fine. That all is fine. As long as you can get the idea out, it's our job to kind of take it and humanize it and make it easy to understand. All right. Which will leave us to the other side of the department that I'm always wrangling, is marketing. And Joe is on the call, right? I hate to put you on the spot. I probably should have mentioned something to you earlier. But if you want to pop in and explain any of these, please feel free to just interrupt.
Good.
All right. So here are all the services that marketing kind of, possesses at the current moment. The core team is Joe and myself. We've got a lot of supportive team. Like I said, we don't have, a 10-person marketing team like some of our other, sister companies that do, or maybe some agencies might. So we have to be really crafty with our resources, and we do a fine job at that, because at the end of the day, creative services we're all, kind of industry experts on what it is we're talking about, and we know our customers. So bringing in Stephanie, bringing in Matt, Meredith, Rachel, Diana, Stacy, and Krista, who's on the design team, to kind of come in and help support those initiatives is just a natural and easy fit. But marketing covers everything from subject matter expertise, helping out with strategy, press releases, obviously social, always like and share, thank you. Webinar development, so kind of orchestrating host topics. Joe is really hands-on on most of this all of the time. I'm kind of dabbling back and forth between marketing and design, but Joe's 100% dedicated to all of these initiatives, and I think does them quite well, as you know. But Joe, is there anything on this slide, services, that you want to talk about? Or you want me to move on?
I mean, nothing in particular, unless anybody has a question.
All right, I will add one thing. AI is coming for, kind of every department is kind of challenged to kind of look at how we can automate certain steps and utilize that tool to make us more efficient, and how marketing intends to use that. And this is going to change here. What you see is building an AI fueled kind of marketing, like an analytics model. We're running campaigns now more than ever. We're putting out more social that's very targeted and specific. We're doing, different outreach to targeted companies. These are things that, historically Tweddle's never really done so aggressively, but in the last couple of years has really hit the ground running. And so we want to be able to take all those different data points and put them together and say, okay, we ran a campaign for 6 weeks. It had so many social posts, so many paid ads. BD did a series of, one-to-one emails. Let's look at what was successful and get some kind of visual data up there. So that's going to be coming soon. It's not on this list, but it's coming for us.
Hey, Lisa.
Yeah.
Have a quick question for you. You slipped a little advertisement in there. You said like and share. Tell me
Yeah.
what that's about, because I mean, I'll watch a little, a YouTube mini video, and the guy will say, make sure you subscribe and blah, blah, blah. That really helps us out. I have no idea what that means. But what does that do?
If you're on LinkedIn
I'm not.
and you're following Twiddle Group and you see in your feed one of our ads come up, you can like it, you can say share it. And when you share it, you're basically saying you're gonna take a copy of it and you're gonna put it on your own account. So people that are following you are gonna see it. So it kind of just helps expand our messaging. And we say we posted a promotion for a webinar we're doing, and 20 people liked it. But those same 20 people shared it. And the people they shared it with 20 other people. And it kind of just, it expands. And all of a sudden it's an advertisement that has now got legs and is running around, and everybody's seeing it. So it really helps our analytics, and it helps our brand awareness. It's kind of like the digital social version of, not telephone, because the message stays accurate, but kind of spreading the news, I guess, if you will.
Yeah. Okay.
It pushes the algorithm as well, so that it helps the platform, whether that's LinkedIn or whatever, decide what to show people. So the more people are responding to something, generally speaking, the more the algorithm will show it to other people, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yep.
All right. So some accomplishments that we've seen over the year, and like I said, marketing has really been kind of all in for the last year for sure, since the new site launched. But over really the last couple of years, we've been pushing a lot of the brand and the name, and really making sure that we're on the map, saying we're still here, we're still thought leaders in this, we're still in the industry, we're still very relevant. And we've gotten some attention in that regard. We constantly see some big names on our site, and we're not advertising to them. Joe takes great care in going through it and updating the SEO on our website, writing really well-crafted, relevant blog articles. And so somebody at the Walt Disney Company is Googling, customer call center issues. If you Google something like that, we come up on the first page. So that's a big hit. And so all the articles on a page one of a Google search, Walt Disney chose our article, and SAT and Reddit. Our analytic tool monitors how long a certain user is on the site, and they read the whole thing, and they come back constantly. Obviously, Bosch is on here. Bosch is one of our competitors. Granted, they do a lot more and a lot wider, but they're still a company that we're keeping an eye on. They're keeping an eye on us too, so that's always good. Panasonic, Apple, Wired magazine spent probably every month of 2024 reading every single blog article that we had. There's just really good indicators that good content's being made, it's being pushed out, people are seeing it. And this is not, I put this on just because it's impactful. Everybody knows who Disney is, and Bosch and Panasonic, and Apple. But what we also have is an equal amount of engagement with potential customers. We've got a ton of OEMs every single week that are on our site engaging with this content. And it's really cool to see this evolution, because, marketing wasn't always supported in the way that CJK has supported us. They came on and said, yes, let's give more budget, let's give more resources, let's get better tools, let's take this seriously. And Joe and myself were able to really kind of turn marketing on its heel with this additional support. So it's been really, really great, and it's definitely had a return. And that is surprisingly the end of the show. If you have any questions come up, obviously you know how to get a hold of Amy and myself. I'll be sending out the recording and this presentation to all that attended, and thank you all for taking the hour that is usually reserved for private time and lunch and giving it to us. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. We really, it's wonderful to see you all here.
Yeah, thank you for the information.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right,
Great job.
take
Thank
care.
you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.